But I knew that I needed to be open to following my intuition, because anytime you would hear someone speak, I needed to at least have a PhD project, and that's got to be something new and novel that nobody's ever done before. And just that concept of doing something new and novel that nobody's ever done before, I didn't at that time have an understanding that I or you are new and novel and nobody's ever been you before. Like, I didn't understand that yet. But so I was super hung up on that concept, and I was like, okay, I need to connect with my intuition better so that I can be a better scientist, right? And so I have these two drives going on at the same time, like be an acceptable scientist and be an acceptable weirdo.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Quiet Knowing podcast. Today we're joined by the insightful tarot reader and Reiki master, Merryweather. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Insightful.
Welcome.
We've already started with an oversell, but here we go.
So there's a question that we like to ask everyone starting out, and that is, what is the quiet knowing to you?
That's a hard question to ask or answer, actually, because I have personally, in this season of my life, been getting called out a lot on my solar plexus and how I see myself. And I'm dealing with a lot of family stuff. And so right now, my quiet knowing is the voice. Okay, hold on. My internal monologue is very like, oh my God, it's mean. It's mean. It's like, what are you doing? Holy cat. Like, I've got a lot of that like old voice of like, you are a terrible person for engaging in the activities you have to engage in right now that actually are a part of your growth. And so I think the quiet knowing is the part of myself that knows that voice is just a screaming toddler in its death throes of taking a nap and growing up and getting on with life. And so I would say that is the quiet knowing. The quiet knowing is the nice part that is connected to spirit and just knows, look, dude, I know you're processing a bunch of stuff and that looks like a full-on tantrum, but like, it's not that, dude. Just chill out.
What is spirit to you? Like, where do you think it comes from?
I don't know where spirit comes from. I know that we come from it. Yeah. But I don't know where it comes from. That's one of those things that just is. At least as far as our little pea brains can wrap around it. I don't know, but I gotta tell you, I really like how you look at your wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're just waiting, and you're kind of happy to see her. It's really cute.
We do that all the time.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Like when we left the house, we drove separately and we're just like watching each other the whole time, like get in our cars and stuff. And then like we get here and the first thing we do is like look over at each other.
That's so
She beat me by like 5 minutes.
5 minutes. I beat him by 5 minutes.
I think she took a better route, but also she's a little bit of a speed racer sometimes.
I actually wasn't speed racing. I was only going like 2 over.
I was listening to classical.
More efficient.
Yeah, that was it. I was also driving kind of slow.
I used GPS, so that was what happened.
So I have a really religious background. Like I went to Bible college and stuff.
Oh, that's
and one
a
of
nice
the things. We'll get there. But I'll let you ask the question. But let me tell my dumb story first.
Okay.
And so one of the things that they would talk about in the church background I have is they would talk about whether or not the first lady of the church, because, usually it was a gentleman that was the pastor, but they would talk about whether or not the first lady of the church actually paid attention to her husband's sermons. And it's just really sweet because I feel like that's what I was just seeing in y'all's faces. And it's just it's really cute.
Okay, so that brought us to our question, which is tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how it led to what you're doing today.
Okay, well, ta-da. I just saved us some transition time. My mother was raised Southern Baptist, and my dad was raised Jehovah's Witness.
Here in Oklahoma?
No. So I'm a military brat, an Air Force brat. And so my parents met when they were both stationed in the UK. And then they went home to visit family and they traveled around. And my mom said, hey, my parents won't let us sleep in the same room if we're not married. So they literally just got married in Poto, Oklahoma after driving around the country to go. My family is based in the Memphis area.
Okay.
And so that's how my parents got married. Yay. But anyway, so my dad was like, oh, boo hiss on church. But my family was stationed in Turkey during one of the Gulf War conflicts. And so the base the base south of us had gotten evacuated, that all the children got sent home, but our base never got evacuated. But we had like a go bag, and my mom had like made all these arrangements for who would take us to the States to go stay with my aunt if something happened, because both of them were active duty. But we went to church at the base. And so like when you live on a military base overseas, or at least back in the 90s, there would be like a chapel, and there would be different services for all the different denominations. So the Catholics always got the rough draw. They always had like a super early mass.
That's what they like, though.
Why? Sleep.
I feel like anytime I went to church, yeah, right.
Were you raised Catholic?
I was raised Catholic, and
okay.
I remember going always super early, but yeah.
No, but I will say I went to a Catholic church one time just to check it out, and there was like a cardinal there that day. And I just love their churches. They're so lush. They've got all this beautiful stuff. It's so cool. I didn't stand up at the right times, but anyway, yeah. So the Catholics would have like an early service, and then the Protestants, it would be like generic Protestant, right? So it would be like the Methodists are in with the Lutherans, are in with the Presbyterians, are in with the Baptists. And then there was the gospel service. The gospel service was always last, and that was the cool service.
Right.
Like you wanted to go, because I would sit and like read the hymnal, just flip through it because I was bored. But anyway, so we were raised on military bases, and my mom had a Sunday school teacher that was Word of Faith. Or I don't even know what they called it, but they were some variation of Pentecostal. Okay. And there was a conflict happening at the time. And so my mom was scared. Like my mom, was worried that she might die or that we might die. Not too long after around that time, actually, my father's best friend and coworker, he was killed in a car bombing.
Oh my God.
And I was actually the one that saw it. We would get two channels. We would get a base channel if you were close enough to the base, and then CNN. And so I was watching CNN because apparently there was nothing cool on the other channel that night or that afternoon. And I said, "Oh, look, Mom, Victor's on the news." And so I was the one that told my mother, and that's how she found out. And so she talked to our maid, because at the time, the Turkish lira was really low value. And so even on a lower ranking military salary, my mom could afford to have like a maid/nanny to watch us. And so she was talking to her, and she was like, oh, and she showed her in the Turkish papers where it said, oh, this man had a partner, but he was a coward and he fled to the U.S. And that was our dad. He had gotten stationed in Florida, and he had already gone. But anyway, so that was the kind of environment that we were in. Yeah. And so my mom, got scared, and she wanted us to say the Lord's, not the Lord's Prayer. What is it? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I don't remember this. But, the salvation prayer or whatever.
Can you say it? Do you remember it at all?
Yeah, just the typical, oh, Jesus, I'm a sinner, and I'm wrong. And
I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, it's not like a standard prayer. It's just like, Jesus, please come live in my heart and forgive me of my sins. That one. The altar call prayer that apparently I'm far enough separated from now that I can't recite it. But anyway, so my mom got scared, and she had us do this, but she had this, this Sunday school teacher, and she was absolutely beautiful. Just this gorgeous woman, older lady with just beautiful long white hair, and this really sweet husband. And they were filled with the Spirit, and they spoke in tongues. And so my mom started, visiting with them and getting in with them. And then we moved to another base, and there were other people like that. And so we would have church on Sunday nights, and Saturday nights in somebody's home. And it was really cool. It was really neat. I remember one time we had it at our house, which is unusual because we are not great housekeepers in my family. But the house was presentable enough to have folks over. And because it was at our house, I didn't have to sit in the space. I could go hide in my room for a little while. And so I went and hid in my room for a little while. And I remember oh man, I can't believe this is a story I'm telling. But I remember coming out of my bedroom down at the end of the hall and walking into the living room. And there was this like it looked like smoke. And I remember like being a little bratty and like blowing the air around with my hand. I was like, did somebody light a glitter cigarette? Because it looked like sparkling smoke. And one of the things they talk about in the denomination I was raised in, so I was raised with Word of Faith. Word of Faith, to my knowledge, I'm sure someone will correct something somewhere. There's a lot to correct. I promise you I will make mistakes. But like a lot of like the pastors and stuff that I grew up with, they all came from Rhema here in Broken Arrow, or Oral Roberts was a big deal here in Tulsa. So like when I moved to Tulsa, oh my gosh, my mom was so excited. Like, she's going in the ministry. She's following the call of the Lord. And I'm like, no. No, ma'am. No. But I always talk about it as like Christian. Anyway, one of the things that they were big on, sorry, back to the glitter cloud. Can't leave that one hanging. But they call it the Shekinah glory. They call it like the presence of I was taught that it was like the presence of the Holy Spirit. And here was this like tangible thing that was in our house. And all the adults are like, holy, because they recognize this for the magic and wonder that it is. And I'm just like, yo, can we get to the potluck part? So-and-so's mom makes really good stuff. Like, let's go. Anyway, I was basically raised in Christian mysticism. What was really interesting was when my mom had to retire early from the military for reasons. And because she had to retire early, my mother was never very high ranking. And so she retired early, which reduced her retirement pay. And so when we moved back to the States, we moved in with my grandfather outside of Memphis and in a little town called Millington, where there's a naval base because my granddaddy was a Navy man. And my mother had been raised Southern Baptist, but it was her mother that was the religious one. My grandfather was not religious. He would always send us off to church and be like, I'm going to be a heathen and stay home. And but he'd take us out to lunch on Sunday. Thanks, Grandpa. But I remember we went to my mom's childhood church where her uncle, my great uncle, was one of the deacons. And my mom always really liked children. And so she was the like 2- and 3-year-old like Sunday school teacher. And some kid got sick. And so my mom starts praying in tongues over this kid that got sick. Well, some mom comes to get their kid or I don't know if it was some mom comes or there was another teacher there or whatever, but somehow it gets around that this lady's praying in tongues over this kid. And so they're like, oh, she's a witch. And she's chanting over them. And so we ended up getting pushed out of that place. But my mother around that time also found a church that she really liked that aligned with the beliefs that she had learned while we were stationed in Turkey. Yeah. And so that was like our home church until I left home. Even after my mom had left, my brother and I kept going there. But yeah, so that's kind of.
So it almost sounded like you weren't all that interested into all of the Christian kind of mysticism in church and stuff. It was just like something that you did, or.
Yeah, it wasn't that I had like some huge draw towards it myself. It just was a part of our lives. Yeah. But in a lot of churches, you get into youth group because we were there Sunday morning, Sunday evening, Wednesday night. If there was a special event going on, we were participating. So we were that family. And by that family, I literally just mean my mom and by default, my brother and I, because we lived in a rural area. So it wasn't like I could go like walk to the house next door and hang out. Oh, Mom, I got to go hang out with my friends. And I wasn't very athletic. And so I couldn't be like, oh, I got a soccer game. Yeah. No, you don't, And so that's what we were allowed to do. I wasn't, allowed to have friends stay the night. And I could go stay the night with them if I wanted to, but usually people expect you to reciprocate that. Yeah. And that wasn't going to happen. So those invites, weren't really common. So if I wanted to like, hey, Mom, I want to hang out with my little boyfriend, guess where we had to go? Church. Yeah. Real fun. But when I was in middle school, high school, I got to go to the little church summer camp thing, which was actually in Oklahoma City. And so I went to that. And of course, it was perfectly catered and designed to create some sort of ecstatic or wonderful experience. And so I went to that and I had a salvation experience and I wanted to be a part of that for other people. And
So you were becoming more spiritual at that time?
oh my gosh, yeah. Like, and then I started to talk into tongues and I started to participate in laying on the hands. And I actually was an intern at that camp 2 years. And then they had a little Bible college. And I was like, hey, I want to go to this Bible college because I was so touched by my salvation experience in this church camp that I wanted to be a part of that for other people. And they had an amazing production. Like they had really cool sets and an awesome band and cool merch. And I wanted to be one of the cool kids, and in my world at that time, that was a niche of cool kid. And I was like, heck yeah. So I did that. I went to Bible college. I was trained as a youth pastor and a praise and worship leader, all those things. And I loved it. And then later in life, I realized some of the really unsavory aspects of that. As a matter of fact, I actually got to hang out with one of my Bible college roommates last Friday.
Oh, yeah.
She was passing through and I was like, heck yeah, girl. And her family still goes to church or whatever, but she she knows about some of the not so awesome stuff that happened. And so we talked about some of that a little bit too. It was really true. But I feel like that's a nugget that could wait for later. I feel like I've been monologuing a lot.
At what point did you kind of get into tarot?
Oh, okay. So much later. Okay, that's actually not entirely true. So when I was probably 15, before I got my first hey, you have a paycheck job, which I did actually a month before I turned 16. They looked at the year. They didn't look at the month or the date. I remember being at work and it was closing day on Sunday. And Sunday was when you washed all the weird stuff. I worked at a restaurant. Sunday was when you washed all the weird stuff. And so they kept bringing me all this weird stuff. And I thought they were being mean to me. And I started having a little tantrum because I was tired and I was cranky. And I was like, quit picking on me. And they're like, oh, she's just a little baby. And I was like, I am a baby. I'm 15 years old. And they were like, oh, crap. How many hours has she been working? I was like, it's fine. I turned 16 in 2 weeks. Get over it. Now, why do you want me to play this? I was so mad. But hi, welcome to I Don't Envy You editing this episode. But tarot. So anyway, about before I had a job, so I was probably about 14 or 15, my mom still loves to engage in retail therapy. And so she would just drag us off to the mall with her. And my brother and I would post up in the bookshop. And because it's great. You can go fondle every different thing in whatever store you want to your heart's content. And I'm just going to sit over here and read a book. And I could usually get through, I'd say about half to 3/4 of a Bunnicula or those little young adult novels they used to have back then. But at a certain point, I started switching to reading Rolling Stone at the bookstore. And, there was the occult section. And I was like, oh. And so I really wanted to be this cool tarot card reader. I was just man, I want to be this mystical witchy chick. Because again, I was raised in Christian mysticism, so that's the perfect rebellion. So I, nicked the good old Rider-Waite tarot because there's no way I was asking my mom for money to pay for it. And so I stole my first tarot deck. And there's a lot of people, there's a lot of lore, there's a lot of people that believe that you should be gifted your first tarot deck or should come from your family. I do not ascribe to that, but some people actually bypass the you shouldn't buy your first tarot deck by stealing. Again, I do not recommend this. This is not the way, but this is what I did. And so I had it. But here's the deal is every tarot deck, here's one. And I bet there's one in here. Oh, this one's nicer though. Hold on. Oh, these actually both have nice ones. But anyway, there's, most of your tarot decks are going to come with a little book. And this is a nice little book.
Show the camera.
That camera. Yeah. Okay. This is a nice little book. It's bound. You can flip through it really quick. But the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, which I did not bring with me because I wasn't thinking about that this morning, has this little white pamphlet. And it's just got a couple random keywords in it. So you'll be okay, I'm going to look up what this card means. And it'll be and it'll be like some really esoteric words like bippity boppity. I don't know. I can't. I should have brought one with me. But like it's, so here I am like 14, 15 years old. And at the time, I didn't know I was neurospicy. I didn't know that till I was like 30, 39 years old, right? And, we didn't talk about that back then. And there was something wrong with those kids back in the 90s, Man, I'm glad that the world's changed for the better. And I hope we continue to do so. I believe it as humanity. But, and so it's got this little white book. And so I'm trying to do something with it. I just didn't have the patience to deal with it. So it got tucked under my bed. And so I had this thing and I had this interest, but I didn't have the attention span to really engage in the mindful study that kind of engagement requires. But I still, I had the thing. It was in my presence. And then I went to Bible college and I really, really, really liked fairies. In high school. I didn't care about them when I was a little kid, but in high school, I would wear fairy wings to school. I literally handed over some of my fairy wings to undergrads. And in my high school, the seniors got out 2 or 3 days before the rest of the school did for the summer. And so the day after I was done going to school, they got on, we're adding a new line to the student handbook. No costumes are allowed to, because they heard I had handed down wings to a freshman. And they were like, no, we're not doing this anymore. We don't need more of that in our lives. Y'all did. But anyway, so that's that. But I was really into fairies. And so I really loved Brian Froud. Brian and Wendy Froud are these really famous artists from England. Wendy Froud is actually a puppeteer. She made Yoda.
Okay. Whoa.
And they're really into fairies, and fairies are real. And so he had these famous books of, fairies and gnomes, and Lady Cottingley was really fun. But anyway, my brother got me this Brian Froud fairy oracle. And again, it's cards that require patience to learn and all of these things. And so it sat on my shelf in my dorm at Bible school. Right where it could be seen. And it's I know it's an oracle deck. I don't care. My brother gave it to me. And people didn't really necessarily that next to my Harry Potter books. And that was when Harry Potter movies first started coming out. And do you guys remember all the, it's satanic, it's awful?
Yeah, we had to hide we had Harry Potter sheet music for our piano, and we had to hide it sometimes when different friends were coming over.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah. So it was that time. And I had my Harry Potter books right out on the shelf. And I was the one with the microwave. So everybody saw these because it was on the shelf next to the microwave. And one of my teachers in Bible college actually got asked by the local news channel to comment on it. And I will give him snaps. David Gadbury was like, hey, I heard you have the Harry Potter book. I actually want to read it before I comment. I'm like, you go, sir. Yeah. Check those references. Yes, please. His daddy's actually the one that performed my marriage ceremony when I got married. No regrets on that. Gadbury's good people. But
so what did he say about the book, though?
I don't recall.
Oh, okay.
I don't recall. But anyway,
couldn't have been too bad then.
Yeah. But anyway, so I had these, and then later on, I had left Bible college. I had left the church, and I was married, and I started getting back into it. And you remember those, how you could Columbia House order the CDs through the mail? Yeah. Well, and there were book clubs like that too. Well, there was this new agey book club. Was it One Spirit? I'm not sure. But anyway, there was this new agey book clubby thing. And so I got all these I did that, and I got these new agey books, but I got a tarot deck in there. And so I started to actually try to read, because here I was, I'm married in my super early 20s, young adult trying to figure out the world. And I was really isolated. I didn't have, hey, let me go hang out with my friends, because I'd left the church. Which meant I didn't have those friends anymore. Yeah. Probably more by self-isolation than anything else. And so I was, I would read for myself a little bit then. And I mostly just kind of here and there as needed, always very dependent on the book from then on. But in 2015, in fall of 2015, I joined this women's group, and I ended up forming a group of friends. And they were all these super magical, like stuff I literally didn't believe in until I'd been friends with them a little while, and they kind of showed their guts a little bit. And I was like, dang it. I just thought people that said they saw auroras were either all Native American or big fat liars, no in between. But I already kind of like know you and vibe with you, and I know you're not like sketchy and super attention seeking, and like, so now I got to believe in this. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And so I'm rolling with them. And so like we would go hang out, and, you know, a lot of them already read tarot and they were really good at it. And some of them had a whole family line of mediums, and they would be like, oh yeah, your grandpa's there. And oh, they would like 2 or 3 of them could see auras, and they would all like say that like you could test them, and they'd be like, what color so-and-so's aura? And they'd say the same thing or whatever. And so here I am with these super magical people, and I was just like, well, I'm just the fat kids with jokes. What's up? And like that, like that's, I was like, I'm here to be comic relief. And so, but I started to, you know, get my own tarot. No, I already had tarot decks, but I started to get more tarot decks, and I started to practice. And I teach a Tarot 101 class. I've been teaching one since, oh my gosh, probably about 5 years now. I've never gotten around to having the attention span to get a Tarot 102 done, but Tarot 101 and I have been going down. And basically what I did, okay, so hold on, let me go back. So I have this magical, amazing, literally thought people only existed like this in books, TV shows, and movies group of people.
Yeah.
Like, what charmed life am I living? But at the same time, I was in graduate school. And, you know, I was the first person in my family to go to graduate school. It was in a hard science, and I was an arts club kid, you know, that came from Bible college. And so there were a lot of, there was a lot of imposter syndrome. There was a lot of whatever. But one thing I had really started to notice was that the people that make any kind of scientific breakthrough, not that I had any aspirations to make a scientific breakthrough, I would just as soon crawl under a carpet and die than have to be like, somebody was like, don't you want to be a Nobel Prize winner? Hell no. Never. That's a lot of pressure. I'm out. But I knew that I needed to be open to following my intuition, because anytime you would hear someone speak, I needed to at least have a PhD project, and that's got to be something new and novel that nobody's ever done before. And just that concept of doing something new and novel that nobody's ever done before, I didn't at that time have an understanding that I or you are new and novel and nobody's ever been you before. Like, I didn't understand that yet. But so I was super hung up on that concept, and I was like, okay, I need to connect with my intuition better so that I can be a better scientist, right? And so I have these 2 drives going on at the same time, like be an acceptable scientist and be an acceptable weirdo. And and so I started to practice, and every day I would pull one card of the day. And listen, discipline is not your girl's forte. Consistency, not my greatest skill. How late was I today? Only 10 minutes. Doing great. Doing great. Right. And so I started to pull a card a day. Maybe I would pull it early in the day. Maybe I would pull it in the evening. Maybe I'd skip a day. It's fine. But I did that, and I found 1 or 2 YouTubers that I liked that had no longer than a 3-minute video, because your girl is not sitting here listening to you go on for an hour and a half. I'm not going to pick up anything, right? And so I would read the little book, and I would look online. I love BiddyTarot.com. Bridget Esselmont, she done did a good job, and she's still doing it. Right. And so I would just take that card and I would compare it to my day.
Yeah.
I think it's already really obvious that I sort of think in stories. And so now I started to develop these stories that I associated with each card. Right. So, hey, I had this. And even when I'll read for people, I'll sometimes tell those same stories that I developed during that time of like, okay, so this is an example of what the Tower card looks. This is kind of what it means, and here are some examples of what it looked like from my past or from the collective past or whatever. And so I built this lexicon of stories or memories for each card. And
that's a powerful technique. You know that they use stuff like that. You know those competitions where they memorize a whole deck of cards or whatever. You know they use that technique. So that's really cool that you just kind of
intuitively.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I had a history, just like any other. Just like any other me, right? I probably have a stack this tall, twice over, 2 or 3 deep of different books on tarot, and I would sit and be like, okay, I'm going to read this book front to back. Girl, it ain't a novel. What are you doing? Right? But I'd be trying and think I failed, or I'd get a new deck and I would be like, okay, I'm just going to learn 1 card a day, but I couldn't connect to it because I was just trying to learn the card. Another thing that actually really helped me learn a lot too was I got over being a delightful, unique creature and just sucked it up and got a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Listen, it's been around for 100+ years. It's got a lot of collective consciousness behind it. That is the deck that 90 will just make up 97% of decks are based on that deck. So if you know this deck, you know almost any deck. Thoth Tarot is a little different. I'm not a Thoth reader. They got a whole extra, like they got just a little, it's still the same cards. Like I could
That was the first deck I got, and I was like, this is so intimidating.
Listen,
I don't even know. I can't.
I know a couple folks that are primarily Thoth readers, and those human beings are on a level of esoterica that is well beyond this human being.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hats off. But what's so cool is there's one lady that I know that's like that. And if she can't do an event, she'll refer me, which is such high praise because in my mind, she's like so esoteric and connected to spirit. And I'm just over here like a freaking feral raccoon doing the thing, right? But I'm doing it, and I am in fact a feral raccoon, so why not, right? But yeah, so that's how I really started to learn it. And that group of friends that I had, where again I just thought I was the comic relief or whatever. Yeah. It got to a point where we'd be hanging out on a weekend. And don't get me wrong, they wanted me to be a little inebriated so I wouldn't overthink it. So I won't lie, and I'm not even going to lie about that. If you get me just a teeny tiny bit tipsy or just a pinch high, you're going to get such a good direct reading from me because I am not going to overthink it at all. I'm just going to be like, here it is, right? Whereas, for regular reading, maybe I'm trying to think of a
nicer way to put it.
I'm usually not pulling any punches. I'm not a big punch puller. I also don't remember most of my readings. And so like I had this one chick I really loved reading for and I didn't see her for a while. I'm like, hey, how you doing? She's like, well, I mean, the last time you read for me, you told me that I was the problem. And I was like, whoo, and you came back. Thanks. Thank you. Super sorry. Like, I don't know. Like, even normally, I can't even say it's like some great spiritual thing. Even in a normal day, I'm just as surprised by what comes out of my mouth as anybody else. So I'm riding this train right along with you. We had a question. What was it? I got distracted.
No, you answered the question.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
It was the question was, at what point did you start doing tarot? And I think she answered that, right?
Okay, hold on. Let me finish that part of the story. Because
Okay.
I'm so sorry for whoever has to edit this. I'm so sorry. But anyway, that group of friends, I'm so sorry.
No, you're great. You're doing great.
That group of friends got to where they wanted me to read for them. Mm-hmm. They were like, hey, I need to know about this thing and I want you to read because you don't, and that was actually a place where I learned some people would read what they wanted to see for you. Some people would read what they thought you needed to hear. Yeah. And they would even say, they're like, you're going to just tell me how it is. And so that's how that went. And let's talk about like feeling like you leveled up. These people where you're like, please accept me. I know I'm not as cool as you, but I know I belong here too. And then to have that dynamic shift to, no, dude, these are what the cards say. What are you doing? You're fucking up. Like, let's go. Yeah. And so that was really fun. Anyway, so long. I'm so sorry. You're
doing
the worst
great.
time editing this. I wouldn't want to have
She's
to edit me.
She's going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I love editing. I love it.
That's so fun.
I'll just be laughing at everything all over again. Like, that's fun. What I do. I'm like, and that was so funny. I forgot they said that.
Oh my God. I really am looking forward to watching these.
Yeah.
Side note, who was the lady last week?
Diana.
Yeah, who's that?
She, I met her at Energistic we were in the Circle of Transformation together. Okay. She's an amazing lady. She's done Reiki through Cheryl, but she's also just became a death doula.
Oh, one of my friends
really
in that group was working on being a death doula. And in order to do it, she was a nurse and she became a birth doula first.
Okay.
And then
she was also a nurse, Diana was.
Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to answer did you ask me? Let me tell you one more thing about me learning to read tarot.
Okay.
So I had this group of friends, right? And as groups of friends do, there was a power hierarchy, and I was lower on the totem pole. And here are all these people that have all these magical, mystical gifts. And here I am, the very amusing chopped liver. I'm overselling. They did not treat me poorly. This is a lot of my self-talk that expressed itself that way. And, it's part of growing and learning, and social dynamics play a big role in that. But I was in grad school, and we were living off of my husband's income, and, we had debts and all of those things. And my dad had just settled a lawsuit, and he got a settlement, and this was, you gotta understand, this was so out of character, but he sent all of my brother and I and my 2 stepbrothers, he sent us all a check for $1,234.56. And just for funsies. And so he sends this check. And so first off, my brother and I get it. And, my brother and I are twins, and we have the same mother. And we're like, Dad, why are you sending money? What's wrong?
Yeah. What was the memo? Did he write a memo on there or whatever?
I don't believe so. I don't recall, but there was just a check. He'd send it FedEx so he could track it, and there was a check. And my brother and I both are like, Dad, what's going on? Why are you sending money? Do you need me to hold on to this? Are you in trouble? What's going on? Because to us, $1,000 was an ocean of money. Mm-hmm. And he cracked up because he was like, my wife's sons are just like, hey, cool, thanks for the check. But you two see money coming to you and you think something's wrong. Well, that's its own story, right? But anyway, so I had this check, and my husband was out of town. I don't remember why. And so I had this weekend, and I had some money that at least a portion of it I didn't feel obligated to spend on bills or debts or be responsible with. And so I drive past Synergistic, and there's the little sign, because I just live down the way, and there's this little sign that says Reiki 1 and 2, attunement, here we are. And I'm like, okay. And so I go to this thing, right? And you got to understand, I used to work at and be associated with a really well-known bookstore here in town that's iconic. And I worked downstairs in their gift shop for a summer. They actually gave me my first academic scholarship. Thank you very much, Beth Mathers. But anyway, so and they would talk about Reiki there. They had those little Reiki charged candles that they always have in every little metaphysical shop. And you're always like, and I remember being like, what even is Reiki? And I remember talking to this guy while I was working over there, and he's like, oh, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. They hold their hands over something. They say they're healing it. This is a bunch of bullshit. And I was like, yeah, that does kind of sound like bullshit. But I was just like, well, if that's something I could do to increase my intuition and develop my psychic gifts, because I was watching all the YouTube videos, how to see auras, anything I could do to self-develop, to catch up to this group I was in, right? And again, there's something wonderful to be said for that, be around people that require you to level up. They even taught me that in Bible college. They always teach the highest level in the room. The lowest level will raise up. If you teach the lower level, the higher level will leave, because they'll get bored, as they should. And but anyway, so I was like, all right, I'm going to go do this thing. And I remember being in there, and Cheryl likes you to use a pendulum. Did she do any of your attunements, or you were okay?
All of them.
She wants you to use a pendulum. And I was like, oh, I don't do pendulums, because I would be hanging out with those friends, and they'd pull out their pendulums, and I'd be like, really wanting it to work, and they'd just be like, okay, maybe pendulums aren't for you. And I kept trying it. I'd be like, oh, I love fluorite. Nothing. Oh, I love labradorite. Nothing. So I go in there, and she's like, oh, you need a pendulum. And I'm like, can I just use my tarot cards? I literally asked her. I was like, no, just let me use my tarot cards. And she's like, no. And there was a lady named Mel, who is, if you've never met her, I will try to make sure to introduce you to her sometime. Okay. She is really freaking cool. But she worked there, and so she's bringing me all these different pendulums, and she brings me a goldstone pendulum. Goldstone is man-made. It's glass. I was like, this is man-made. Why are you going to bring a man-made? But it worked, and it was so quiet. It wasn't pendulums are usually it was dee, 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 dee. And Cheryl was like, is that even work? So she's asking her pendulum if it's working. She's like, okay, it says it's working. So that was my first pendulum. Like, it was a whole thing. But I'm in there, and it was really neat. It was just me and one other lady. And Cheryl kept saying all over and over again, I'm teaching this differently today than I normally teach this. But she taught it exactly the way I needed to be taught. We went in and we just practiced beforehand so we could see what we saw beforehand. And then we did an attunement. Then we would try it again.
Yeah.
And it was exactly what my mind needed to be like, okay, I have baseline data.
Right. Yeah. That was exactly how she did it with me. And I needed that too. Yeah. Because I also was very skeptical.
Yeah. And then we administered a treatment, and then I could see this other thing. And what was so cool to me was a few years prior, so I had always been fascinated with candles. I always kind of wanted to make candles, but I never got around to it. It's one of those things that you feel like, or I felt like I had to have a teacher. I had to have a leader. And maybe that was my church background, right? Maybe I have to have a shepherd. I have to have a pastor, right? But I had started to make candles for the moon phases. And, I'd make candles at the full moon. I got this book and I just loved it. And I thought it was really cool. And I had gotten sick while I was in grad school, and I needed extra money to pay. I mean, I had insurance, but even when you have insurance, there's still bills. And so I needed extra money to pay some of those medical bills. And so I started to sell some of those candles at the shop where my women's group met. And, I started to make lots more candles or different candles. And like I had a whole song and dance I would do when I made them. And so I would be calling in the energy from above, and I would be stirring it in. And it was a whole thing. And I remember being in my Reiki attunements, and I was like, finally got it. I was like, oh, this is what I do when I make candles. That's all this is. And you can feel it, just
right.
Here it comes, right? And so I was like, okay, bet I could do this now. And I actually, when I read cards, that's what I'm doing is I'm using that connection that is affiliated with Reiki. But honestly, even when I was in church as a kid, that was the connection that somebody was making to get their prophecy or whatever that they were going to deliver, or to lay on hands or whatever they were going to do. It was all the same thing. And I was like, okay, I get this. I can do this. And that made a huge difference, and it was really empowering for me. And it was really important to me that I was doing my own thing in my own space.
Yeah.
That was separate from this other group, because that was important for the power dynamic to me. Yeah. That, I'm not just here for your approval or, whatever. And I make them sound awful. That was a me thing. But, but that's kind of where I did that. And I still do that when I read, because I've read for you before. Like I do, everybody's got their own kind of weird, and I do something a little weird where I hold people's hands, and I hold your hand, and I say, hey, if I was your best friend, what name would I call you? And I ask you to say that name, and don't it's very is it Butthead? Is it Fifi? Is it your name? People are do you need my legal? No, I don't need, this is not your taxes. But I hold your hand, and I literally use what I associate or what I learned from, that interaction, the Reiki stuff, to connect with that person's spirit. And I'm literally just asking, hey, I want your high spirit to talk to my higher spirit, and they're going to tell me which cards to pull. And I don't need to know your business. That is your business, because I learned the hard way that if I let people ask direct questions and I learned their business, I would go home and I would worry about them. And I got plenty of anxious energy that wants to do that. I'm just going to let it be anxious about me, okay? Yeah. Right? But I know how to tell a story, and I know what parts of the story each card represents, and I can kind of move that in, and it makes it a little easier for me.
So what has tarot taught you about trust in yourself or in the universe? Was that something that you struggled with at all?
Clearly. I mean, I've had a whole theme of, let me talk to you about my insecurities. It did. It provided a tool or mechanism for me to trust in myself. Because if you trust in yourself... Hold on. I remembered what I wanted to say. So we're going to take this and move it right here. So the thing with pendulums, because this kind of matters, right? The thing my deal with the pendulum was you're holding this dangling thing in your hand. You are moving it, right? And I was in that attunement class with Cheryl, and she's like, yeah, you are moving it. You're asking your higher self which knows everything and gets it and doesn't overthink it like this part does, right? Mm-hmm. And you're asking the part of you that is divine and connected to spirit to answer that question. Yeah. And that's where I started to get comfortable with that. So to come back to your question right here, it has been a mechanism to trust myself to listen to spirit, because we are all, how much of you having this kind of conversation is somebody over and over and over acknowledging that at some point they learned or recognized that we are a part of spirit. And when we honor that and we don't listen to just our insecurities or just whatever, like it all just magically falls into place. No, your life is still a trash heap if you're a trash heap. But like the connection part naturally happens, right? And for me, grad school was a part of that because it forced me to, I will necessarily say, it forced me to sort of get over imposter syndrome. And you want to know what I just went through 7.5 years of the worst health of my life and a lot of stress. The cure for imposter syndrome, at least for me, was being like, oh, everybody else is winging it. Everybody else is as much a dumbass as I am. Yeah. I have a good friend from that group that I'm still really friends with. And you know, you meet people I meet people, a lot of people meet people and they're intimidated by them. They see them like, oh, here's this beautiful person. Like she's not going to have anything with, little old me or whatever. And so I had known her when I worked over at the spa and gift shop, and she was this, one of the massage therapists, and she was so cool, and she had tattoos, and she listened to all these like heavy rock bands that I was not cool enough for, and she would like take photos and just look amazing. And so I, had gotten to where I was becoming comfortable with her and being friends with her. And I was like, oh man, I always thought you were so cool. And she's like, I always thought you were so smart. And I was like nervous about and I was still an undergrad at the time. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Cheers. I didn't even know I was going to grad school. And, but anyway, she's like, and then I would hear you say dumb things sometimes. And I'd just be like, oh, that's just this is Amy. And I was like, yep. And so like that's a big part of what I learned in grad school, but that's so empowering, right? Yeah. You're just not as afraid to be yourself once you realize, oh, PhD over here thought I could weigh DNA on a normal balance. Yo, bro, you're obviously really good at your one thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that was super empowering, right? And so I've got that going on. And then with tarot, in my opinion, and in my experience, it's just a practice thing, right? For you, the more you've done Reiki or any other magical, delightful thing that your glorious little self does, the more you do it, the more you get feedback from others. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that's positive, right? Yeah. And anything that is more of a constructive criticism, well, that's just going to help you grow, right? And so it's just the more you do, the more you get comfortable doing it. And the more you get comfortable realizing that, hey, this cool thing I'm doing that other people seem to like or seem to benefit from, like that's a natural part of me and it's okay.
Well, do we want to go into a little bit of a reading before we go back to questions?
Oh, that'll be so fun.
Hey guys, just a quick pause for a moment. If you've been called to slow down, listen a little bit more deeply, or come back into alignment with who you truly are, this offering may be for you. My Soul Aligned Spiritual Mentorship is a one-on-one experience designed to meet you exactly where you are. In our sessions, we'll explore what you need in the moment to support your healing, growth, and transformation. Whether that's energy or sound healing, intuitive guidance, or gentle reflections, exercises, or journaling. It's a sacred space for you to reconnect, realign, and remember your own inner wisdom. I'd truly be honored to work with you. And as a special thank you to Quiet Knowing listeners, you may receive $20 off your first 2 sessions. Just email the Quiet Knowing podcast at gmail.com to learn more or to schedule.
All right. So when I get the really cool, like I'll work parties and stuff sometimes because, oh man, invite me to your party. Let me eat your snacks and talk shit with you. It's going to be a delight. All right. But because of that, I get the pleasure of being a lot of people's like first reading. And I know I'm not your first reading, but I always tell people, I'm like, look, everybody's there all kind of weird. This is what my weird looks like. Right. Because how many people do you know that are going to make you hand sanitize and hold your hand and do whatever? And so we'll hand sanitize and then we're going to hold hands. I'm going to give you a whole speech. Okay. And don't worry, there's not a quiz. I'm very bossy. I will tell you what to do as we go along. You got to listen to the speech. All right. So we're going to hand sanitize. We're going to hold hands. And I'm going to say, if I was your best friend, what name would I call you? And I need you to say a name. Just spit something out. Don't overthink it. It is not that big of a deal. Just go, bleh. Right?
Yeah. Well,
just
it already came to me whenever we were talking about it earlier. So I'm just going to say that.
Perfection. Look at that. You got more foresight. You get more forethought about it than most people do. And I'll hold your hands and I'll be like, hi, my name is Amy. My friends call me Merryweather. And I'll be quiet and I'll make a face and then I'll say some really weird random shit. And sometimes that's a part of your reading and sometimes maybe it's not or I don't get it and that's fine. But it lets me know that your spirit talked to my spirit and I'm counting on them to tell me what cards I need to pull for you because I don't want to know your business. It's your business. It's not my business. I got my own bullshit. I don't want yours. Right? But I'm going to do general reading for you. It's going to be past, present, future. So what is going on and some extra cards for why. And it is about whatever the fuck we're supposed to talk about. Because I learned the hard way that sometimes what you want to talk about and what spirit wants to talk to you about are not the same thing. And if I let you lead up front, we're going to waste a lot of time. And if this was a paid reading, that would waste a lot of your money. And that just pisses both of us off. So screw that. Right?
Gotcha.
So anyway, so I'm going to hold your hands. I'm going to do your reading. And my big ask is this. Between you saying your name and me saying, okay, that's what I had to tell you. Any questions, comments, complaints, or clarification? Unless I ask you a direct question, don't say shit. I don't want to be biased. But the other thing I'm asking is I'm going, hey, does this make sense? Because if it makes sense to you, awesome, A++, let's roll. But if it doesn't, like, I'm supposed to tell you something, like, let's make sure we do that. So if it doesn't make sense, let me know. I got a couple ways for us to kind of, like, narrow it down without you having to tell me your business. All right? All right, so... Again, big long speech. Don't worry. If I need you to do something, I will tell you.
Okay.
A little for you, a little for me. Like a splinter or something. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, that's fun. Okay. All right.
Smells great.
Thank you. Okay. Put your hands like that. I love your ring.
Thanks.
All right. If I was your best friend, what name would I call you?
Tick.
Tick. Okay, hold on. I should probably have the mic over here. Tick, huh? Little bloodsucker. You know, I used to say that ticks were literally God's curse on man.
No way.
Anyway, well, that's a great way to introduce myself to you spiritually. Anyway, hi, Tick. My name is Amy. My friends call me Merryweather. Thank you for letting me read for you today. Go ahead and relax your arms. Okay. All right. So you were doing a mole's work, but you were a mouse, and you were... Sorry, did I just mess it up?
Nope.
No, you're good.
Okay. You were digging underground at sort of like an angle. And it was kind of weird. You would be like, dig, 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 notch. Dig, 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 notch. And I kept being like, are you a mole? No, I'm a mouse. Are you sure you're not? I am a mouse. Right. And so we may want to look up what mice mean. Interesting. But anyway, you were just digging and that's all I really got for you. Listen, sometimes they're really wild and neat and sometimes it's a mouse digging with notches.
I like it.
Bless you. It's that one. Okay. So when I'm like at an event, I have like a whole stack of tarot decks I bring with me. And the deal is a tarot deck is a tarot deck is a tarot deck, right? They've all got basically the same 78 cards in them. But the artwork on one may be a little different than another. And that may change how I talk to you about something. And so let's see what we got. But I will probably just ramble on about something because that keeps me appropriately distracted so I don't overthink your cards. Nope, that one went over here. Tick. Okay. Okay. I want to say tell me the origin of the nickname Tick, but don't tell me. Don't tell me right now. Where do you go? You go here. Yeah, you go there. Okay, well, let's see what we got. I'm just as nosily interested as you are. All right. Past. Oh, yes. 2 6s. Look at that. Oh, Nick, I love this for you. Love this for you. I'm not going to be comfortable in November, though. But it's still good stuff. Okay, let's talk about it. All right, so what are we coming out of? First off, you have the Six of Swords. Swords is mental energy. It's what we think. And first off, you have 2 sixes here. So tiny, my take on numerology. And, take it or leave it, right? But 6, so 5 is challenge. And 6 is sort of like, so first off, 6 is 3 times 2. I know that sounds dumb, but it matters. 3 is like manifestation and abundance and creation energy, right? So you have Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Trinity. Like there's a lot of power in 3. But now you have 3 twice over, right? So you have power and knowledge. Why do you have knowledge? Because you just went through the challenge of the 5, right? Big info dump. Thank you for writing with me. I promise I'll summarize at the end. But anyway, so you have this. The Six of Swords comes after a mental battle of having to sort out what ideas don't serve me anymore because I'm in a different place in my life, or the world has changed, or I had to shed this old idea of what reality actually was and what it actually is, right? And so you kind of got your mental ass kicked. And you were like, all right, I'm ready to move on to greener shores. I'm ready to move on to the next space. I feel like I've learned this lesson. I'm not feeling real happy about it, but like, let's get the hell out of here and let's go somewhere better. And I love the Six of Swords for that, because we all go through hard times. And there's a lot of optimism and hope that comes with, I'm going to move somewhere better. So here you are like, okay, I'm going to go somewhere better. And then you got another 6, but this is a 6 of Pentacles, right? And so I was taught that my church understanding was that a pentacle and a pentagram were the same thing. They're not. A pentacle is this. And don't tell that story. You're in the middle of a reading. Okay. Anyway, but side note, this is exactly how I do readings. But this is generosity. This is getting help. Okay. So here you are moving on to a better shore, and you're getting help along the way. All right. Love that for you. Is it fun? Is it light? Is it delightful? No, but it's real. And it's productive. Mm-hmm. So that has gotten us where we're at. First off, where are we at today? The happiest freaking card in the whole dang deck. The sun, right? And so here we have our little naked baby, and he's on his little white horse, and the white horse is a symbol for freedom and spirit. And this deck actually sticks to a lot of the very traditional imagery very well. And so here we have this brick wall, and the sunflowers are behind it. And so the sun is living your life in joy and choosing to take control of your life in a way that empowers you. But it also has all these acknowledgments of coming out of a harder time. Because this brick wall right here, behind that is all the bullshit you had to go through to get here. And sunflowers, they're not just sunflowers because they look like they're the sun. They're sunflowers because they follow the sun, right? So here your sunflowers are growing on the other side of the fence. They're growing in the past, but they decided to choose and follow the light. So I love the intentionality of the sun as well, because it's like, fuck yeah, I'm going other places. I am going other places. But I love this for you right now. Bask in this, because we don't always get to sit in this, right? So like, have a good fucking time, sir. Be proud of yourself. Because again, 2 months from now, you're going to be like, F me, right? But like, soak it up. So you're in the middle of the sun energy right now. And then you also have the Emperor right now. Now, the Emperor is major arcana, and it's the 4. So 4 is a number of stability, right? So I always talk about like, you want to sit in a table, or you want to sit in a chair. You don't want to sit in a table. You want to sit in a chair that has 4 legs, not 3, right? Because if we sit in a 3-legged stool, yeah, it's going to hold your ass up. But if you wiggle, you're going to go down, right? And so 4 is stability and security. And the Emperor is that. He is stability. He is security. He is having a plan A. He is having a plan B. But it's also being the one in charge. And both of these are kind of speaking to that for you. Like, I'm driving this bus, and that's bringing me greater joy, right? So that's where we're at today. Let's talk about where we're going. So you're driving this bus, it's bringing you greater joy. You're trying to make sure that you're just really laying a super solid foundation for yourself so that this will be successful and go well. You're going to avoid some of the pitfalls that maybe you would have fallen for in the past, because now you're more experienced and more mature. But then we go straight into the Hanged Man. So here's my deal with the Hanged Man, all right? Sometimes the Hanged Man is martyrdom. Oh, sorry, let me hold it for the camera. Sometimes the Hanged Man is martyrdom. This camera. Sometimes the Hanged Man is like martyrdom or whatever, but I don't really... How am I going to say that? I actually am trying to be nice for once in my life. Give me a second. you do have a pinch of that in here. There is a little bit of, I did everything right. Why didn't this happen sooner? What, like a little poor pitiful me here. There's a little poor pitiful me energy here. So just owning it. Look, it just means you're an intelligent human being with emotions and feelings. Just sort through them. It'll be fine. But like when you're on your whiny bus, like take a moment for some, self-awareness. So there'll be a little whiny busness, but this more often than not is really just about having to look at things differently. It's also a wait and see card. Okay. Yeah, don't tell me shit. Right. It's also a wait and see card. It's also there's not a lot of obvious action that happens with the Hanged Man, but there is a lot of waiting for things to come into alignment, and there's a lot of perspective shift. I have had this show up for me in times in my life when a big change was coming that was so beyond what my mindset was expecting to see that I really did have to have a full perspective shift. But it's usually shows up at very powerful times, at least in my experience, of like, holy damn, this is about to change my whole fucking life, right? Hold up, what? But here we are, right? So this is good. This is good, but you're gonna have some whinies. Right? I don't normally tell people they're going to be whiny about it, so you're very welcome. Don't forget to tip. Anyway, where is this leading us? Queen of Wands. I love Queen of Wands. Listen, I usually tell people pick their favorite pop star, okay? For me, the Queen of Wands is either Taylor Swift or Beyonce. I don't care if you think they're lizard people. I don't care. I literally had someone tell me that in a reading once, and I was like, okay. But also, hey, 10 years from now, I might be like, lizard people. Like, anytime I want to make fun of something, 5 years later, I'm like, yeah, for real, though. Right? But anyway, less about me, more about you. This is boss bitch energy. I'm not calling you a bitch, but I am calling you a boss, right? This is like, Wands is action is what we do. Queens are intuitive. So it's like, you know what you want to do. You know how to make it happen. You're not afraid of making it happen. You're comfortable advocating for yourself, all of these things. So again, for our what, we have come from a big shift in how we see the world. And there was a lot of kicking our own ass about why didn't I see that before? Because you didn't see it before, honey, but you see it now. There's been some generosity and some help. You know what? Fuck it. You're a part of community and you give help. You're entitled to receive it. Good job. Right? Where are we at right now? Sitting in it, baby. Sitting in it. You should be proud of yourself. You should be happy. Look at this drive that you have for yourself to go in a good way. The things that you're doing that you think are really setting you up for success and helping be more secure and safe. I'm here to give you an applause and a yay and amen. Like, yes, you're doing the damn thing and you're doing it well. You do have some shifts into waiting on somebody else or having to look at things very differently. You've got this coming. And I know that that's a very uncomfortable space because when we have to sit on wait on something else, that's when we talk ourselves out of shit. That's when we get really uncomfortable with shit. That's when we question whether or not this is really supposed to happen. Baby, it is supposed to happen. And the minute it starts clicking, you're gonna boss dude it up. Okay. Now, this is what's happening. Let's talk about why. You and your spirit had a whole thing. Okay, I'm ready to feel more stable and secure in my life. We've got King of Pentacles energy. King is solid, stable energy. Pentacles, again, is our health, our wealth, our physical world. It's our resources in our life. And so you're like, hey, I'm ready to feel more secure. I am a man of a certain portion of my life, and I'm ready to really have my feet under myself and stand on my own. And these are the things I know I need to do it, even though there's some uncertainty here. And you said, hey, here's that 5 of Swords. I'm ready to accept that I'm changing stages in my life, and I'm ready to think about things differently, and I'm ready to lay down ideas and mindsets that don't fit anymore and take on these new ones, even though these new ones are uncomfortable and challenging for me. And here you are just doing the damn thing. That is what I had to tell you. Any questions, comments, complaints, or clarification?
I don't think so. It all, really resonated with me. Even as you're explaining the card, can I talk about the Hangman?
You can talk about whatever you want now. That's my whole rule. I'm like, don't tell me shit. And then if you want to have a whole therapy session, it's fine.
No, you picked it up and I was like, oh, you can just look at it a different way and it's not so bad. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that really resonated with me. And
I'm here to give you confirmation that there are 2 other readers that have told me the same things for him.
Yep. And okay, going back to, hold on, I want to go back to you, but we're going to go back to our little lesson earlier. That shit right there, that's how you become a better reader. You read for someone and they come back and tell you, hey, you got X, Y, and Z right, but you got this part wrong. And then you learn. Anyway, back to you. Yeah. You're reading.
Yeah, I think it's really, can be really insightful to do stuff like this because it is, especially when you're in the moment and struggling with something, mentally or psychologically, you can get stuck in that one thing. And having this different perspective really helps you look at things in a different way and can help kind of show you a different path to reach that thing that you're after,
Yeah, it just gives perspective.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot, I would say maybe 70% of the readings I do, because again, I don't want to know your shit. It really is just validation. Like, hey, you're not batshit crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. And this is one of my favorite things to say just because I think it's a witty turn of trashy phrase. But like, I won't say I haven't given readings where I have been like, hey, you're riding the dumbass train to fuck up mountain. All right. It's my favorite shitty thing to say. I love it. Southerners love a good colloquialism. Anyway, but like a lot of times it really is, no, you're not crazy. I'm here to validate this. Because how many people in our lives or even how much of our culture tells us, hey, just suck it up, buttercup,
right,
when you need time and space to acknowledge something. Or how many people will not validate our experience because it's not convenient for them. Because people count on you in their lives. They assume that you're a resource that's available to them. They don't necessarily always respect your autonomy. And the fact that, hey, guess what? You might go off and live your own goddamn life and you're entitled to do that, right? Like there's just so many rules and expectations and ties that we're not always super consciously aware of that come into anything in our lives. And this gives you a way to kind of look at it outside of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And back to like what Kendall was saying, if she's been pulling cards for me and I'll often, get the same cards and it's like, okay, does that mean that I'm like doing the thing or does it mean that I need to like learn. I still haven't learned my lesson or whatever, or I'm sure it's
sometimes you're just still in the energy. Though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Depends.
I had someone asking me about this. Today's Sunday. 2 days ago, somebody had taken my Tarot 101 class recently, and she was like, "Hey, I've been pulling cards for myself every day, like you recommended, and I keep getting this one card following me over and over and over again." And I was like, "Listen, I literally had a card stalk me for like months. And in my case, at that time, it was just something that I was refusing to see or afraid to see, right? And so it just coming up. But in her case, based on what she was telling me, I think it was just like, hey, this is the season for that. And just because you haven't like magically learned the lesson in one day, listen, life is not a lecture, right? It's not like going into a college course and hey, I've heard everything I need to know for this section of the test. I'm good just as long as I study my notes. No, man, it takes however many years for that tree to grow or however many months for that transition to happen. Or like, surely you took a communications course in college. I can't imagine that you didn't. And I remember taking mine and they said that you have to hear something 7 times before it sticks. That's what advertising is keeping in mind, is they're going to advertise because they want you to hear it a minimum of 7 times so it stays on your mind. So of course you're going to get that same message over and over again sometimes.
Totally. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that she needs to go take shuffling 101, card shuffling 101.
Okay.
I shuffle well.
Let me take that. So that's another reason that when I work at parties or whatever that I have so many decks is because sometimes astrologically we're all kind of going through something, or even if you don't want to think of it astrologically, as a culture we're all in a season, and so sometimes the same card will keep coming up, and so if the same card keeps coming up out of the same deck, it's like, well, then I'm just a shitty shuffler, right? But if the same card keeps coming up out of 1 in 20 decks,
Yeah.
then that's the card that's supposed to come up.
Yeah.
Another thing too, so I read for myself a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but there are things, because you were, touching on how like, hey, you need that different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things that are just a little too close to home. I can't read about it. And so I'll go ask a friend.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
I'll go ask a friend, hey, will you read for me? Or I'll go ask someone that absolutely doesn't know me at all and has no horses in the race. Will you read for me? And I'll be honest, I will sometimes I just hear it from one person and I get the message I need. But a lot of times, because of my background, I need more than one data point.
Yeah.
And so I might go read about the same thing with maybe two, usually no more than two, but sometimes three readers. Now, I'm not looking for a different thing. I'm actually interested in seeing how many people are going to confirm it. Oh, actually, let me finish your reading.
Oh.
So I always like to end on an advice card, and I usually bring an oracle deck with me.
Yeah.
But I didn't, so let's just pull one out with an Oto deck. So your advice about whatever the hell this is.
Okay.
Is you're gonna have to edit so hard, Kendall.
We'll just leave it all in.
And then people can be like, Lord, that lady is the most stream of consciousness all over the damn place. Neurodivergent. Did you take your medication today, lady? I have seen this 5 minutes. That's what they're gonna say. All right, your advice card is the Queen of Cups. Follow your intuition. You are in a safe space to do this thing. The safest space that can be made for you. And even though this change or transition is new to you, this is not what I would normally say about this card, but your guides, your people, your team, your environment, everything has come together to put you in sort of a sandbox environment for this. So you are not taking a leap out into the unknown that is out to eat you. You're actually taking these steps with training wheels right now. And that is perfect. Just trust that this is happening and it's safe. It's making this safe for you to take your first few steps, and then those training wheels are going to come off and you're going to be rolling. I cannot emphasize enough that is not what I would normally say about that card, but that is what we're saying about it today.
Okay.
Can I go ahead and pull a card or two for whoever is watching?
Yeah.
All right, let me move back.
For the audience.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. One of our questions is like, what does your soul want to communicate with the audience? And I think that this is a perfect way to do this question.
Yes.
You can pull 3 cards.
Listen, we all need the interpreter of the cards for my soul, because otherwise we're going to just sit in a big old word soup of Ramble City. So like, let's not. What is it? What does my soul want to say?
Yeah, what does your soul want to communicate with the audience?
All right, soul. What do we want to talk about? Oh, we're going to talk about this differently than we normally do, I think. Is this the challenge or the outcome? Hi, have we reached the portion of the day where I'm overthinking it? Yes, we have. All right, let's go. All right, so when you are trying to be logical and practical about things, when you are doing yourself the kindness, even though it's uncomfortable, of really trying to make sure you make the smartest possible decision, your challenge, is that you don't think that you have it in you, that you don't think that you have the connections that you need or the resources that you need or whatever. But the thing is, which is probably why you're trying to be logical, but the thing is, like, you're going to fucking do it. It's fine. Oh my God, I love this. I love this because I have this whole blah, blah, blah. A big portion of the substance of today's ramble has been. If I had to summarize my journey with spirit, it truly has just been a lesson in me not thinking I was enough, trying to study ways that I could be enough or be more interesting or be more connected to spirit, which is so counterintuitive, right? Like, you're trying to logic your way into spirit.
Yeah.
But that's what I had to work with. And that's what I needed to work with in order to trust it. And, it took forever and was messy. But what doesn't and what isn't? And I thought I didn't have enough. But of course I did. So our outcome was King of Swords, right? This is trying to logic our way through things. Our challenge was the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles. All right. I love that I'm smiling next to one of the crummier cards in the deck. But it's a card about lack. But the thing about 5 in tarot, so Pentacles again, is our resources, it's our health, our wealth, and our physical world. But the Five of Pentacles is the traditional version of the card shows a person that's crippled and two people that are very, very clearly in dire straits standing in front of a church. And it's not Rhema and it's not Victory. It's Iron Gate, which is our local mission. Right. And so here you are. 5 is a number of challenge, but it's also a number of community. And here you are, a member of this earth, a member of this community of human beings, however that looks for you. And you're going to a place where you're going to get help and you're entitled to it because you're a part of that community. Right. And so even though our challenge is poverty, I don't have what I need, your challenge is also asking for that help. Right. And if you ask for that help, you're going to get it. This is our weddings and graduations card. This is an accomplishment card. It's seeing progress and celebrating it. And you're not the only one that sees it. The people around you see it too. And so anyway, all that to say, if you're trying to do the smart thing, ask for some freaking help and you're going to get it and you're going to do great.
Love
that.
it. Love it. What's a book, quote, or teaching that has deeply influenced you?
I can't believe that this is about to come out of my mouth. But Peter S. Beagle wrote in The Last Unicorn. There's like a tree. And it goes, love, love, love. I will remember it's this tree. And if you watch the cartoon, this tree is this big voluptuous creature with these huge tree boobs. Don't ask me how it happened. I can't believe this is what I'm saying. And it's hugging Smendrick the magician. And it says, love, love, love. I will remember the color of your eyes when no mortal alive remembers your name. And I just love this because a lot of people are concerned with significance. I don't know if I am or not, probably. But you're a part of this earth and you make an impact on it no matter how you cut it. Another one, this is not from a book. This is a Mark Twain quote. And I did it for calligraphy when I was attending a Christian school for 8th grade. And it said, heaven for comfort, hell for company. So if you're worried that you're not sticking into society's stuff perfectly, don't fucking worry. You're with the fun kids. It's fine.
Love it. Okay. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience?
If I can be here and be honored to be on a podcast with such delightful humans, and I know some of the people they've interviewed for some of these other episodes, a couple of them, not all of them, and they are marvelous and magical and so interesting and insightful. But I'm just saying, if this human being could be in this seat, I'm pretty damn sure you're pretty freaking magical too.
Love it.
That's very sweet.
It's truly meant.
If people want to reach out to you, find your work, how could they find you?
Yes, I'm too tired to get onto TikTok, but at least I'm on some other social medias. I still have a Facebook. It's Merryweather's Magic, and it's MERRYWEATHERS Magic. I'm also Merryweather's Magic on Instagram. And so that's where I readily exist. And I'm happy to do readings virtually, over the phone, in person. You get this mess no matter where you hit it up.
Okay, well, thanks so much for coming on. It was such a joy having you on. I had so much fun.
Yeah, it was
I'm
a lot
sure
of fun.
everybody did.
I live to serve.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.